Hi, today we're going to work on Psalm 100, and it does have a title in the original Hebrew. It is a psalm for giving thanks. There are different types of psalms, and this is a psalm of thanksgiving. Now, Psalm 100 does not have an author listed, so we don't know who wrote it. But let's start by reading Psalm 100, and this is in the ESV, if you'd like to follow along. It's the English Standard Version. So let's read this. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name. For the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. And one of the first things we want to do is look for words referencing God. And for God, I'm going to have this purple highlighter and mark any term that means God. So make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. That's the Lord's. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and bless his name. For the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. And so we see God all over this. And I want to point out that the word Lord, when you see it in all caps like this is the word Yahweh. And this is the covenant name of God. This is his proper name. And then we have, of course, these pronouns, his and he, throughout. But the other word we see is right here. This is God. And this God is, if we look at the original Hebrew, this is Elohim. So he is God. Elohim is, Elohim in general just means gods. But when we see it like this and it's referencing our one true God, this Elohim is plural, meaning more than one, but it usually has singular like verbs and adjectives, meaning some people believe this is like pointing early on to the Trinity. He is God, but this is the one supreme God. And this is the word that was used in Genesis 1 in creation. In the beginning, God created, Elohim created. And that's one place we see this. This is also the term Elohim that he uses when he created covenants. So those are the different forms of God we see in this. Another thing I want to look for is anything that stands out. And what really stands out in this one are all the verbs. I'm going to use green, but we see lots of verbs telling us to do something. And that's the main part of what this is about giving thanks. So we are to make a joyful noise. So make what? A joyful noise to the Lord. We are to serve the Lord with gladness. We are to come into his presence with singing. We are to know that the Lord, he is God. We are to enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name, for the Lord is good. So we see there's actually these 7 imperatives or commands: make, serve, come, know, enter, give thanks, and bless. And that is very much what this psalm is about. It is telling us how to give thanks. And we're going to see in a second, it's also telling us why we should be giving thanks. And I think I'll go there now. So depending on what version of the Bible you're using, it might have this broken up. So Psalms are poetry, they're songs. You might see them broken up into stanzas. And in the ESV that I'm looking at, I'm going to put that up here, that this is ESV. ESV. We see these breaks. We see there's a break here, a break here, a break here, and then we have our final section. So each of these sections is 3 lines, and we have 4 of them. But when we start to study this, we see this pattern in this Hebrew poem. And Hebrew poetry is often very structured, very meaningful. It's like a poem. There's a lot of work that went into this. And what we see here is make a joyful noise, serve the Lord with gladness, come into his presence with singing. These are calls to worship. Calls to worship. we could say calls to worship. And then here we have a reason to worship. We should worship because we know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. So these are reasons to worship. And then we switch back and we have more calls to worship. I'm going to write that first. More calls to worship. We have enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him, bless his name. And then we end up with reasons to worship. And it's because and this is a key word, I'll just do it here. For the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever and his faithfulness to all generations. And so what is wonderful about this is, yes, this psalm is calling us to worship, and it's calling us to worship joyfully, a joyful noise with gladness. And this singing, other versions have joyful singing, and with thanksgiving and praise and giving thanks and blessing his name. So it's telling us to do all these with joyfulness, but it's not just telling us to, it's saying, if you don't know why to do it, this is why, because the Lord, he's God and all of this. And for the Lord is good. Now, I don't remember who taught me this, but I recently saw that anytime you see God is something, that you should really pay attention to that. We have here and here. And they even said, change those to capital letters. So he is God. And we could just sit there and worship because the Lord, he is God. There is no one like him. He is God above all. He is the creator God. As we said, he's the one that spoke us into existence. He made us. He created us. He's called us to be his own. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. But also the Lord is good. He is a good, good God. And we could worship him just because of the Lord is good, and his steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. So those are why we worship, reasons to worship. Now let's go through this line by line. I want to get a little more out of this and study some of what this means. So make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. And we often think about joyful noises. I've heard people make jokes about, like, if your singing is not that great, at least it's a joyful noise. But I like to look at other translations, and I use Bible Hub for this. I can show you how later. But this joyful noise, some of them talk about a joyful shout. And this is, in one place you see this is in Joshua 6. And I'll put that here, Joshua 6. And this is when they were fighting against Jericho, and they marched around the wall of Jericho 6 times. And on the 7th day, I think they went around 7 times, and then afterwards they gave a loud shout and the walls came tumbling down. This is that type of a shout. I also think of like a king going out on the balcony and looking over his people, and the people are shouting, and it's a way to worship. It's a joyful noise. And it's telling us, is making this command, the psalmist, since we don't know who he is telling us to make a joyful noise, or to shout joyfully to Yahweh, the Lord, all the earth. And so this was written many, many years ago, over 1,000 years ago, but it includes us. We're going to see this because of all the earth and all generations. And so we are to shout joyfully to Yahweh, which I think is something we don't often do in today's world. We are also to serve the Lord with gladness. So we see this joy, this gladness. Other translations, instead of serve, use the word worship. And service is an act of worship, but we can also just see how we should worship the Lord with gladness. We should be glad as we do it, or as we serve him. And then we are to come into his presence with singing, or other translations say joyful songs. So again, that joy, this is all just pure worship. Let's worship God. And why should we worship? Well, this is also another imperative or command that we should know. This is more than just, oh yeah, I know that. This is like knowing it deep inside, like fully acknowledging it, that the Lord, he is God. And we walked through this already, but Yahweh, he is Elohim. He is the creator God. He is the God of the covenants. He is the divine judge. He is above all. It is he who made us. God made us, and so we should rejoice, and we are his. And I was just kind of imagining if we could make a little puppet or something and it came to life and it would worship us, it would praise us just because we made him and we made the world around him. And that's who we are. God created us, and he created other people, and he created this world. He made us, and we are his, and we should worship him. And other old copies of the Bible, instead of saying we are his, said, and not we ourselves. So he made us and we didn't make ourselves. And so that's really a cool reminder too, that God is the one who made us. We did not make ourselves. We are his people. This is the Psalms are the prayer book or the song book of Israel. And Israel were definitely his chosen people. But today, all Christians are his chosen people. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. And this sheep of his pasture probably reminds you of Psalm 23. And that's what I think of, that he's our shepherd, and that we live in his pasture. He takes care of us. He leads us beside still water. He makes us to lie down in green pastures, and he provides for us, and he takes care of us because he's our shepherd. And that should remind us of Jesus, our good shepherd. So this is one reason, or several reasons, why we should worship. Then we get back to those other commands or imperatives about called to worship. We are to enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Now this should remind us of the temple. And so the temple, after Moses and they had the tabernacle and they went around and they worshiped in this tabernacle, eventually Solomon built the temple. This is in Jerusalem, and people would take trips to go to Jerusalem to worship. And when you got to the temple, you would enter the gates and you'd be in the big courtyard, and this is calling us to enter those gates with thanksgiving. This is like coming into his presence, coming closer to God, and his courts with praise. So we go through the gates into the courts with thanksgiving and praise. But it's not all about the temple. It's all about God, the Lord, Elohim, Yahweh. Give thanks to him, bless his name. And other translations of this, instead of bless, say praise his name. And the reason we have different translations of some of these words and different translations of the Bible is because if you're translating from any language to another language, there's not always an exact one-to-one meaning. And so as they studied, as the translators worked on this, some of them would pick up different ways of saying it. But I like the praise, because bless his name, I don't understand as well as praise his name. But when I see the word praise here, now we see this connection. We have the thanks here and the praise here. So here again, we're entering his gates with thanksgiving. And to do that, we're then going to give thanks to him, to God. And we're entering his courts with praise, and then we're going to praise his name. So this is who we are to praise and to give thanks to. And we do that by coming near to him. Now, in today's world, we don't have to go to a temple to worship and to praise God and to be in his presence. That's not our primary way of worshiping. We can worship God anywhere because of Jesus and his death on the cross. And he created this where we could approach him directly. And so anytime we come into the courts, enter the gates of God or the courts, it can be right here in our house or in the church or wherever. And we can enter those, and we can enter those with thanksgiving and praise, and then give thanks to him and praise his name. And then we come to the last part of this psalm, verse 5. And again, this word for, these small words in the Bible like for, because, or but God, these can be so important. And this is like, there's a reason here, and we're like, well, why should we do this? And this is like for, or because. We should do all this because the Lord is good. He is good. And you could just sit with that, but he indeed is good. Even when we don't feel it, even that when times are hard, we can know that Yahweh is good. And God's steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. His steadfast love is a very important word in the Hebrew in the Old Testament, and it's hesed or hesed. I don't speak Hebrew, but there's a strong sound there. And other Bible translations do hesed as mercy or loving kindness or faithful love. Loving kindness, faithful love. But whenever I read the ESV, so whenever I see this steadfast love, that almost always is this hesed. And this is very much about the covenants God made, like the Abrahamic covenant, the covenant with Abraham or Moses or David. And God never breaks his covenant. When he promises something, he always holds it. While in the Old Testament, you see Israel or the Hebrew people fail over and over and over again, but not God. God's hesed, his steadfast love, his mercy, loving kindness, faithful love endures forever. It will not stop. He always keeps his word. And his faithfulness to all generations. And he is always faithful. So to end this, I would like to point out, this is something David Guzik, I love watching his videos, and he always says, well, how does this point us back to Jesus? Because Jesus said that the prophets and the Psalms and the law all pointed to him. So how does this point to Jesus? How do we see Jesus in this? We already talked about one reason, and it's right here, that we are the sheep of his pasture in Psalm 23. But the New Testament over and over calls Jesus the good shepherd, or even the great shepherd or the chief shepherd. He is our provider and protector, and we are his sheep, and we hear his voice and we listen to him. So Psalm 100 is pointing to Jesus in that way. And Psalm 100 is pointing to Jesus, I think also here about it is he who made us. Now, all three parts of the Trinity had a part in creation, and we are also his people. But Jesus as creator, he was the word, he spoke the word, but he was part of the creative process, and he helped to create us. And I encourage you to read this again several times over the next few days, and maybe in other translations. I'm reading the ESV. Pick another translation, read what you have on your shelves, or go online and find another one. You could just Google Psalm 100 and put NIV or NLT or New King James or whatever. But let's read this one more time in closing. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with joyful singing. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him. Bless his name or praise his name, for the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. Thank you for joining me as we went over Psalm 100. I'll see you next time.